Hold on, something deeper is coming into focus, and it's aligning pieces that never made sense before. Don't rush past this moment. Something quiet but powerful is unfolding right now, and if you listen closely, you might recognize it. There has been a shift, not loud, not dramatic, but undeniable. For so long, you've carried a knowing inside you, a feeling that something about this connection, this person, this story, wasn't being seen clearly. You tried to explain it, tried to hold your truth steady even when it felt like no one fully understood. And somewhere along the way, doubt tried to creep in, not because you were wrong, but because you were standing alone in what you could feel. Pause here for a second. What if everything you sensed, every instinct you trusted, was quietly aligning behind the scenes, waiting for the right moment to be revealed? Because that moment has begun. There is something different about your soulmate now. Not something you can easily point to, but something you can feel. It's in the way their energy has shifted. In the way silence between you feels heavier, yet clearer. In the way they are starting to question things they once ignored. And here's the truth you weren't expecting. They have seen something. Not just heard, not just imagined, but seen, a realization, a moment of clarity, a piece of undeniable proof that gently, but firmly, turned their perspective. And suddenly, the version of you they once doubted, no longer exists in their mind. Let that sink in, because this isn't about winning or proving someone wrong. It's about alignment catching up to truth. Stay here with this feeling, just a little longer. Have you noticed how certain memories have started resurfacing lately? Moments that didn't make sense before, conversations that felt incomplete, emotions that lingered without explanation. They are not random. They are pieces, reconnecting. Your soulmate is beginning to revisit those same moments, but this time, with new awareness. And what they are seeing now is different, clearer, deeper, unavoidable. What if the confusion that once existed between you was never meant to last? What if it was only a phase, a necessary distance, so that both of you could see things from a higher perspective? Because something is changing now, not in theory, not in imagination, but in real perception. And when perception changes, everything else begins to follow. But here's where it becomes even more interesting. This realization didn't come easily to them. It didn't arrive through words or explanations. It came through experience, through something they witnessed, or something they felt so strongly that it could no longer be ignored. And now, they are standing at a quiet crossroads. Not outwardly, not in a way the world can see, but internally, a place where they must decide. Do they continue holding on to the old version of the story? Or do they step into the truth that is now clearly in front of them? Listen carefully. Because this is where everything begins to shift, not all at once, not instantly, but in subtle, powerful ways. Their thoughts about you are no longer the same. Their understanding is no longer limited. And their resistance is beginning to soften. You may not see it yet. You may not hear it yet. But something inside them has already moved. And once that movement begins, it cannot return to what it was before. So take a breath and ask yourself this. What if the moment you've been waiting for is not coming from the outside, but is already unfolding, quietly, within them? Because if that's true, then everything you thought was delayed, was actually being prepared. And this is only the beginning. Hold on, something just deepened, didn't it? Not outside, but within the space between you and them. like an invisible thread tightening, becoming impossible to ignore. Because now, it's no longer just a realization. It's becoming a feeling they can't escape. There's a quiet intensity building inside your soulmate, a kind of awareness that doesn't let them rest the way they used to. Thoughts about you are no longer casual or fleeting. They return, again and again, with more weight each time. And here's the part that changes everything. They're starting to connect the dots. Moments they once dismissed. Words they didn't fully understand. Feelings they tried to push aside. All of it is forming a pattern now. Clear, precise, unavoidable. Pause for a second, and imagine this. What if someone suddenly saw the truth they had been blind to, not gradually, but all at once? That's the space they are standing in right now. It's not overwhelming in a chaotic way. It's overwhelming in a clarifying way. Like waking up and realizing, nothing was as it seemed, and yet, everything makes sense now. And in that clarity, one thing stands out more than anything else. You, not as a memory, not as a passing thought, but as a presence that refuses to fade. Stay with this, because it's important. They are beginning to feel something they didn't allow themselves to feel before, not because it wasn't there, but because they didn't have the proof to trust it. Now they do, and that changes the energy completely, because when someone finally sees the truth, they can't unsee it, and when they feel something deeply, they can't pretend it doesn't exist anymore. But here's where the shift becomes even more powerful. They're not just realizing what you are. They're realizing what they almost lost. Let that land. There's a difference between knowing someone is important, and realizing you were close to letting them slip away. That realization carries weight. It creates urgency, but not the kind that feels rushed or forced. The kind that feels real. The kind that makes someone stop, reflect, and question everything they thought they understood. And now, they are questioning, not you, not the connection, but themselves, their past choices, their reactions, their silence. They are replaying moments. Not to judge, but to understand. And in that understanding, something softer is forming, something more open, more honest, more aligned with what they truly feel. You might not see it yet, but you can sense it, can't you? That subtle shift, that quiet pull, that feeling that something is different even if nothing has been said yet. That's not your imagination, that's the energy changing. And here's a thought that might stay with you. What if everything that once felt confusing was only leading to this exact moment of clarity? Because sometimes, truth doesn't arrive when we want it to. It arrives when it can no longer be avoided, and that's where they are now, right on the edge of something real, something honest, something they can't turn away from. So before you move forward, just stay here for a second longer. Because what happens next depends on how they respond to this clarity. Will they step toward it, or hesitate at the edge? You'll see the answer sooner than you think. And if this feeling, this unfolding, resonates with you in some quiet way, you can share your thoughts below, or simply stay connected to this space as the story continues to reveal itself. Because the next shift is not just internal anymore. It's about to become visible. Wait. Something just crossed the line between thought and action, and this is where the story stops being silent. Because what was once happening inside them is beginning to reach the surface. Not all at once, not in a dramatic explosion, but in small, undeniable signals that carry more truth than words ever could. Look closely at the energy now. There's less distance, less confusion, less hesitation, and more intention. It might come through in the simplest ways, a message that feels different, a tone that holds weight, a presence that feels more certain than before. But beneath those small shifts, something much bigger is unfolding. They are no longer just realizing the truth. They are starting to accept it. And acceptance is where everything changes. Pause for a moment. What happens when someone stops fighting what they feel? What happens when the questions fade, and clarity takes their place? They move, not impulsively, not recklessly, but with purpose. Your soulmate is stepping into a space they once avoided, a space where honesty can no longer be delayed. And this is where your journey intersects again, not as it was before, but as it was always meant to be. Because now, they see you differently, not through doubt, not through confusion, but through understanding. And understanding creates a new kind of connection, one that isn't fragile, one that doesn't depend on uncertainty, one that stands firm. Stay here with this realization. They're not just thinking about reaching out. They are preparing themselves for it. You may notice it in the energy before you see it in reality. A quiet pull toward you, stronger than before, more focused, more intentional. It's as if something inside them is guiding them back, not out of habit, but out of truth. And here's the moment you didn't expect. They are beginning to trust what they feel about you, fully, without questioning it, without holding back. Let that settle in. Because this is the proof the title was pointing toward. Not words, not promises, but a transformation. The kind that cannot be faked, the kind that only happens when someone truly sees. And now, they see. But here's where it becomes even more powerful. This change isn't just affecting them, it's affecting you too. Have you noticed a shift in your own energy? A sense of calm where there used to be uncertainty. A quiet knowing replacing the need for answers. That's not coincidence. That's alignment. Two perspectives, finally beginning to meet in the same place. And when that happens, the connection stops feeling like a question and starts feeling like a direction. So take a breath and consider this. What if everything you went through, every moment of doubt, distance, and silence, was simply leading to this alignment? Because now, nothing feels forced, nothing feels unclear. It feels natural, and that's how you know it's real. But don't rush ahead just yet. Because the next step is where everything becomes visible, not just in energy, but in reality. And when it happens, you won't need confirmation. You'll feel it instantly, because this time, there will be no doubt left, only truth, moving forward. Just when it seemed like everything was quietly settling, something undeniable begins to surface, and this time, it doesn't stay hidden. Because the shift has reached a point where it can no longer remain internal. It moves, slowly, deliberately, but with a clarity that wasn't there before. And you feel it, don't you? Not as a question, but as a presence. There is a moment, unexpected, almost subtle, where the energy between you changes in a way that feels real. Not imagined, not hoped for, real. It might begin with something small, a message that carries honesty instead of hesitation, a tone that feels grounded instead of uncertain, a gesture that doesn't seek approval, but expresses truth. And suddenly, everything you sensed before starts to make sense. Pause here, because this matters more than you think. What you are witnessing now is not just someone coming closer. It is someone stepping into alignment with what they feel. No masks, no confusion, no distance pretending to be clarity, just truth, moving forward. And here's what makes this moment powerful. They are no longer trying to figure you out. They already have. The questions that once created distance have been replaced by understanding. The hesitation that once held them back has been replaced by intention. And now, their actions begin to reflect that. Stay with this feeling. Because this is the moment where everything starts to become visible in ways you can no longer ignore. There is a shift in the way they approach you. A quiet confidence in their presence. A willingness to express what they once held back. Not perfectly, not all at once, but honestly. And honesty changes everything. You may notice something else too. There is less resistance inside you, less need to question what this is, or where it's going. Because for the first time, it feels clear, not because someone explained it, but because you can feel the truth of it. And this is where the connection transforms, from uncertainty into direction, from confusion into clarity, from distance into movement. Take a breath. Because what's happening right now is what you've been sensing all along, finally becoming real. And here's something you don't want to miss. This moment is not about proving anything anymore. That phase has ended. This is about experiencing what happens when two people finally meet in the same understanding. No force, no pressure, just alignment. And if you've stayed with this journey, if something within you recognized these shifts before they became visible, you can share that feeling, or simply stay connected here as everything continues to unfold. Because what comes next is not just a continuation. It's a confirmation that what you felt, what you trusted, what you held on to, was never misplaced. And now, you don't have to search for answers anymore. You're about to witness them. And just when you think the story has revealed everything, something deeper steps forward, quietly, almost like a final piece sliding into place. Because this isn't just about them anymore. This is about what happens between you, when truth is no longer resisted. There is a moment, very subtle, yet impossible to miss, where everything feels aligned. Not perfectly, not magically, but honestly. And honesty carries a different kind of energy. It doesn't rush, it doesn't force, it simply exists, and invites everything else to fall into place around it. Pause right here. Can you feel how different this is from before? Before, there were questions, unspoken tensions, a sense of waiting without clarity. Now, there is movement, not loud movement, but meaningful movement.